Okay, now in the previous class we were talking about this poem. So with you, I have completed the poem fully. Kavi Sampurne Mogolotte Kasakachakara, Breakfast by Jacques Prevert, and something translated by Rajisiri Vardhana. So we understood that it was the relationship between a husband and a wife, and it was not a good one. Something distracted or broken or deviated, aparted, something like that. Then we discuss something about the introduction part, incident, the theme, and certain level of poetic techniques. Poetic techniques part based on this on poetic techniques part all right, if I give you a brief summary to the poem, we saw that how the husband was making coffee and adding milk and adding sugar, and how he stirred it and how he drank it, and how he put the cup down, and all the while he was without speaking to the narrator. So that shows the conflict. And then continuing, he lit his cigarette. He was making rings and he was putting ashes into the ashtray. Also, he was without speaking to the narrator and he was without looking at the narrator. So we understood how the relationships were detached or deviated, aparted. Okay. While doing the poem, we understood the mental stress of the narrator or the speaker, how she was suffering like that. He got up then, and he was wearing his hat on his head, and he was wearing his raincoat as it was raining outside, and he just went out. So no verbal communications were there. All these things were observed by the narrator, and she was reporting thus. He was going out in the rain without a word, without a look. Then narrator, probably the wife or the fiancé or the lover, we are not sure about their social relationship. She was putting her heads in her hands and she was weeping. So that was what she could do. She was totally embraced or depressed, like that. She had to suffer. So there may be a certain type of quarrel or misunderstanding. That is how the society moves, how the human relationships move. Not the bed of roses. There are conflicts, there are problems arising, but you must know how to settle them. Okay? That is why this poem is also categorized under conflict. This is a social conflict or a family conflict or a personal conflict. මේ poetic techniques වල මම පොඩ්ඩක් මතක් කරන්න අපි සතිය කරපු ටික මේක. මේ සතිය අවසානයේ කරපු ටික the poet creates a gloomy atmosphere in the whole incident. Only the husband is active but does everything silently. Now what is the exchange between them? The poet builds up the visual imagery. We saw different types of visual imageries were created by the narrator, by the poet. Image of the home, but without any auditory evidence. Nothing auditory was there. The poet builds up a gloomy and eerie atmosphere at home. Although physically both wife and husband appear in the scene, we do not find any lovable or pleasant situation between them. They behave as if they are unknown to each other. We probably know that they are known to each other. But their behavior to the outside world is totally unknown, as they were unknown to each other. The atmosphere at the home can be considered as gloomy. So we are having a very gloomy atmosphere. I talk about the coincidence also. Then the poet slightly hints about the outside atmosphere. So that is the place where we can see the coincidence. The husband puts on his raincoat because it was raining. If it is raining, the sky might be gloomy. It should be overcast with the dark clouds. Therefore, it is quite obvious that the poet has built up coincidence between the home environment and the outside. Now, this is something commonly done by poets and short story writers, the technique of coincidence. Whatever they are discussing in the poem, they are drawing parallels. The things or the sufferings felt by the characters of the poem are being coincided with the outside setting. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ පරිසරයයි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ මනෝභාවය කියන එක මත සමපාත කිරීමක් කරනවා. Then when we are reading something like that, we can also absorb that quality, that emotion. අපිට මේ emotion එක absorb කරගන්න අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා. In the whole incident, the poet is highly concerned about the emotional crisis of the narrator, the wife. Definitely, she is quite anticipated in building up a good rapport with the husband. It is quite obvious that she goes on looking at him quite enthusiastically, but to her misfortune, she does not receive any response from him. She first says quite disappointedly, without any word to me. That means she expressed some affection, cordiality. Now, these words are important, I told you. Writing an answer, the word affection, word cordiality. යෝග්‍ය වචන අපිට misfortune කියන එක, enthusiasm, disappointment. අපිට පාවිච්චි කරන්න වෙනවා අපේ උත්තරවලට. Okay? Affection, cordiality, enthusiasm are all the things in a relationship. මේ හැමදේම අපි දකින්නේ සම්බන්ධතාවයක තියෙන දේවල්. Secondly, the situation becomes bad to us. She is still more hopeless. So she adds more to denote her embarrassment and her mental pains. Without any word to me, without any look at me. The second line adds more emotional value to the situation. She has faced mental confusion so that she waits further for some response from her husband. So it is apparent that the poet builds up contradictory situations or a contrast. පරස්පරතාවය paradox කියලා අපි කියන්නේ between the couple මේ දෙන්න අතර තියෙන පරස්පරතාවය අපි මෙතනදී දැක්කා. So we have to continue from that part today.